It's fired up? Yep. John? Okay. Very good. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call to order the special council meeting for the city of Nisswa. It is Thursday, October 15th, 2020. It is 5 p.m. And the purpose for the meeting today is the request from the mayor, by the mayor, to look into and possibly initiate an investigation into our police chief and our police department. So with no further ado, I am going to make a little presentation or speak a little bit, and then look to make a motion. So
is this considered open forum then?
we don't have any open forum on the agenda.
Okay.
We have not opposed to it, but so if there's somebody here that would like to say something. Okay, please come up to the podium and speak your name, address.
Before you do that, Cam, I'd just like to move that we follow our meeting rules, that we limit speakers to 5 minutes.
No problem.
I'll second
Per
that.
individual.
I'll second that.
I just have a couple questions. That's
Oh, we
all.
got
My name is
a
Cam
motion.
Dorian. I live in Nisswa.
We have a motion on the table, so.
I'm
Yep.
sorry.
We need to vote on the motion.
Is there a second to it?
Yeah,
John?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, to limit
Yeah,
open
all-
forum speakers to
Correct.
5 minutes.
Yep.
Okay,
You need to vote on it.
let's vote on it. Yeah, Don?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yep, yes. Okay, very good.
Okay, my name is Cam Dorian. I'm a resident of Nisswa for 20 plus years. I just have a few questions. I don't understand what's going on. How long have you been mayor?
4 years.
4 years. I know at a meeting prior to this that you have said that people have come to you with accusations and complaints against our police department.
That's correct.
What did the city attorney say when you brought those to him that people were complaining?
Actually, I did not bring it to the city attorney because it's not really a matter to bring to the city attorney. The city attorney's role, the way I understand it, would be to monitor how a proceeding would go, that we protect people's rights and so on, and that we do things in a proper fashion.
Okay. How many complaints have you had against the police department in the last 4 years?
All total,
Yeah,
I don't have an exact number.
approximately
Yeah, 6 to 9.
6 to 9. So after 4 years of mayor and 6 to 9 complaints, now you're deciding to launch an investigation. Is that
Yes,
correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I got to ask, if you haven't been, if you,
I'm asking the council to consider it, yes.
so after all that time, now you're doing it. Do you think that if you hadn't been arrested and embarrassed the town of Nisswa, that you'd be doing this right now?
It was kind of in the works. Mhm.
Who do you think should pay for this investigation?
Well, it would certainly need to be the city of Nisswa, as it's the city employees that would be we'd be looking into.
So the previous meeting, you had said that none of the accusers wanted to come forward. They were afraid. Are they willing to come forward now for this investigation?
So, and your first name again?
Cameron.
Cameron. So Cameron, what I had indicated is that because of public scrutiny and being put under the microscope and the spotlight, and we all know how easily in this day and age people can get mean and ugly and wicked. They are not comfortable going to either the city administrator or the council with their concerns. but they would consider if there was a non-biased group that up until a certain point that they would remain anonymous, that they would be potentially willing to talk. But one party, I'll just share with you, one party stopped by my store last week, and he's like, first of all, he thanked me for what I did. And then secondly, he said, there's no way that I could go and talk with the city, either the administrator or any other group in the city, because I'm afraid that my name would be out there and that I would be either verbally attacked or that the police department might look to put repercussions on me. So they're looking for a safe place to at least start a discussion. And it's not, just so that you understand, my goal would be this, that if the council was to move forward and hire somebody to look into this, that this firm would look into a whole level of different issues, from threatening people, behavior with city department heads and staff, up to bigger issues, as I had mentioned at the last meeting. And then out of that, see what they would look to recommend. Would they look to recommend that we change our policies to do a better job protecting? Would we
5 minutes.
Would we need to maybe have some verbal or written reprimands?
I just got to say, as a citizen of Nisswa, it's so funny to me how after all these years and all these accusations, you never talked to the attorney, and it's just before an election and you just embarrassed our city. Now you're doing this. It's a little fishy. It's a little funny. It's like you're trying to take the heat off of you and put it on somebody else. And as a citizen, that's all I have to say. I'm just telling you how I feel. Mm-hmm. And I think if the city council goes ahead with wasting taxpayer dollars on this, that there's another issue. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
follow-up question,
Yes.
if I may?
From you?
Yes,
Okay.
if I could. To you, you talked about the reasons why you didn't go to the city attorney with the issue, but did you ever go to the personnel committee as outlined in our employee handbook? To talk with the personnel committee?
I have had some discussions with Jenny Max, and Councilman Ryan is aware of some of these issues.
But not formally to the personnel committee? Not formally to them?
Right,
Okay.
because I'm looking at it from the perspective of the citizens.
Well,
Because I'm here, I'm elected, and we are elected
Yeah.
to do a job for the citizens.
Yeah, I was just wondering the pathway that you could have taken but didn't. I just wanted to clarify that. That's fine. Thank you.
Who else? Who else has some concerns that they would like to share? Okay, hearing none, we will close the open forum. And I've got some, and just for the record, all of the council's here, city administrator is here. Gary Johnson joined us just recently. The city attorney is here. So those are the people who are present. So I'd rather speak from out here for a couple of reasons. One is I would just as soon look at you as to.
I'm going to object to the consideration of this question.
And what question is that? that I'm choosing to speak from out here.
And the,
Councilman Hoff, if I may, you may at this point consider under Robert rules a motion to limit the time of this presentation instead of any motion at this point to limit consideration.
okay, then I'll move that the 5-minute rule is applicable as well to this as well.
I'll second.
Gary, all those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good.
And one more thing, Mayor, to be clear, now you've now stood down at the public forum lectern there. So I assume you're passing the gavel at this point to the vice mayor while you do that. Is that correct? You really can't be a member of the public speaking at the public that way without doing that, in my opinion.
Okay,
So are you passing the gavel now?
yes, I will pass the gavel
Thank you.
to Councilman Johnson, pro tem. So I want to, I'm not going to go back through what I laid out at the last meeting because I think that's pretty obvious. And this sort of matter is always very difficult when it comes up for any city to look to deal with. But as I had stated, there's a good number of things that have happened in our community, from small and within City Hall, from small to big, and that are alleged, have to use the word alleged issues. And by the way, probably should have said before I stepped down, and maybe Tom, you want to, maybe now that I've stepped down, maybe you should just warn all of us about what we can say and what we can't say. I'm sorry I was going to do that, but I didn't.
Mayor, I would generally say, and council, I would generally say that any reference in these proceedings to specific names, dates, places, that would be things that would fall under either Minnesota Data Practices rules, that would be in conflict with our personnel policy process, would be in conflict with any union contracts that may apply depending on the remarks. I would just caution all public officials here not to give specific details in a public forum about accusations, whether they be criminal or whether they not be criminal.
So what I've shared previously is what I am looking for the council to act on and move forward with today. And the primary purpose of this meeting is again to publicly request that the council take a couple steps, and one is to move to and find a investigative firm to look into issues that I think we're all aware of. I mean, they're in the minutes of our meetings and different things here and there. And to look to move forward with that, to give the public an option and a way to communicate their concerns to the city that they're afraid of doing on their, in any other way, because of fear of being judged, attacked, retribution against them, there's a lot of concern out there. And so a big piece of this is to let the citizens know that we have their back. And that term's been used for the city employees. And, but we're here to have the back of the citizens. And when they have issues that they don't feel they can come to the city administrator with, or or others on the council, and they come to one of us in private and ask that we look to do something, this is the only real way that we can do it, is to have an investigation, to talk with these people, to find out what the concerns are, and is there anything that can be learned and done from it? You know, one of our most sacred responsibilities of the mayor and the city council is to see that the city employees, professional department heads, who care first and foremost about the citizens, show that through interaction with them, and listening ear and the ability to solve the citizens' concerns that are worthy of their position. Our citizens assume and expect our department heads are going to do those things, and that they will, and they have the abilities and the morals and the standards that are above reproach.
1 minute.
And that they understand that the citizens of the community they serve are important, the department heads, and eagerly meet those needs and concerns. So with that, I'll pause, or I'll stop, and I'll finish talking as mayor. Thank you for the time. So as mayor and council person and the city of Nisswa person for many years, I've seen and heard about and experienced, talked about with council, talked about with city administrator, probably had a conversation or two in one way, shape, or form with the city attorney, although not in any official way. Talked with the groups that we hired to help us find a city administrator, about the internal problems that the city's been having and has been having for well over 8 years. And those concerns have always been pushed along, and it's been, well, we can't do that right now. We need to wait until we do this. Or we need to wait until we get a city administrator. I think council would probably, if they thought real hard, would remember back before we hired a city administrator, I pushed real hard that we would take care of the problems with staff before we got started with a city administrator, so that the city administrator didn't have to take on that burden. The people that were involved at that time, the firm that we were looking to hire, the temporary administrators, along with, I believe, the personnel committee, it's like, no, let's just leave it. Let's wait until we have a city administrator and let the city administrator deal with it. Personally, I thought that was really unfair, because we then bring a person in who is looking to build relationships with staff and people. And instead of needing to get into the middle of a quagmire of what we had going on within the city, we offered the job to the city administrator position to one candidate, and they turned us down because after meeting with the staff, they sensed enough vitriol that they didn't want anything to do with the city, and that they were going to keep the job that they had. So we then made an offer to our current administrator, who has bravely taken on all the tasks and has done a very nice job. With, I would say, the exception of being able to reel in issues and problems within City Hall. One thing that I was pondering about the other day is, and I'll bring this up to you, Councilman Johnson, and that is, imagine how different things in Nisswa would be if 8 years ago, you and the council actually had gone through with what you started. And that was letting the police chief go. And there was also a second reason that I understand that there could have been for letting the police chief go.
Okay, I have to object to this consideration of that question, Mr. Mayor.
You can do that. So, I think the picture.
Stop though, please. That is a parliamentary effort, I think, by you, Councilman Ryan,
Yes, it
to
is.
object to consideration. That does allow for interruption of the speaker. There's not a vote, or there's not a motion required. That just takes a 2/3 vote of the council.
And what's that, and exactly what is that?
As a parliamentary procedure under Robert's Rules of Order to object to the consideration of the question. I believe that's what
Yes,
Councilman Ryan just did there. So at this point, it's not a motion, doesn't need to be seconded, just needs a 2/3 vote to limit that question.
There was no question.
I objected to the question the consideration of the question you're asking.
I'm not asking a question.
Sounded like it.
I'm just merely talking about how things could look different.
Mayor, you need to hold a vote now.
Okay, vote please. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So I would just again state that I believe that Nisswa could have a whole different look and feel to it. And that the issues that have been being not dealt with, ignored, and absolutely out from the last meeting we had, absolutely outright denial that any of this things that I've mentioned even happened, which are in the minutes of our meetings.
Can I ask when they're in the minutes?
That would be your job to search that out.
Well, they haven't been in the minutes since I've been here.
But some of it has come up in some discussions that we've had. And if you would like, as I said at the last meeting, there's some things that you've not been involved with.
Mhm.
So if you would like to learn about those, you had probably the last 2 weeks to contact me. We could have had a meeting. I could have filled you in. Could have searched the records and done some due diligence. It's not something that.
But I don't feel that
Any one of us.
if somebody has an issue with our police department, they can follow the proper channels to file a complaint. And then at that point, an investigation can be opened. But if there's nothing in front of us, I see no reason to do any of this.
And the issue, and so the concern there, Councilman Hoff, is that there's information in our minutes. There's information in discussions we've had. There's information in just knowing what's going on here at City Hall and has been going on at City Hall. That if you want to
City
know-
Hall's not on the topic right now. We're talking about, you want a police department investigation.
And the police chief is a part of the issues, as I mentioned at the last meeting, what's the problems at City Hall.
Mr. Mayor, question. May I speak? Okay.
Please.
Mr. President, I move to limit the discussion to 2 minutes per speaker on the issue before us.
Okay, well, so,
There's a motion.
That's a motion.
okay,
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I was going to just suggest we move on. So,
Fred, another question, if I may?
Yes.
Let me get my notes here. Some of the things that you said tonight kind of remind me of what I'd call a he said, she said situation.
You're absolutely right.
And
You're absolutely
I'm wondering, do you have any substantive information, any hard data that you can present to back up what you're saying that people are telling you? Is there anything that you have for us to look at?
What I have, most of the information, or the concerns I expressed at the last meeting. It's not, I don't have permission from people to divulge that. What I have brought, the concerns that I have brought, is about as far as we can go without implicating specific times, people, and so on. And by course of nature or by course of government law, we can't do that. And a great example of that is a few months ago, we were asked to promote a person to another position. And in that, the interviewing committee could not know anything about that person's past. And the council also could not know anything about that person's past. And hence, it's a troubling situation, the way government, I mean, it's fair, but it's troubling that the way the system works. And so I'm asking, there isn't any, I don't believe, with the exception of possibly Mr. Hoff, and he certainly has had time to look into this if he wanted to, that
2 minutes.
that most of you, or the three of you here, know most of what I'm talking about. And if it is only because there's not something in writing that you're unwilling, or you're willing or unwilling to do something to move on this, then my personal feeling is that you're protecting staff and you're not looking to allow a process for citizens to express their concerns.
Mayor, now.
I'm done.
Now, yeah, thank you.
We can't move forward on vague accusations and hearsay, and you should know better than that.
Well,
And to continually talk about how this council knows this and we know that is false,
no, it's
Fred.
not. No,
It
it's
is
not.
false.
Go back in the minutes.
You're the one bringing it up. You go back in the minutes.
I can't.
This is a colossal waste of time.
I cannot force you guys to do your job. I cannot force you to look.
You're the one bringing it up.
I know.
I'm not going to dig through it. If you make these accusations, these items have not been on the council in my 12 years I've been here.
You are not being accurate. You are not being accurate.
Oh, Mr. Mayor,
Because you've already admitted, so to speak, that you know of some of them.
I do not.
So you don't know anything about the motion that you made to have the police chief removed from his positions?
I object to it. I object to the consideration of this question.
Okay.
That's not what we're talking about here today.
Yes, it's one of the.
Please stop,
Yeah,
please stop.
objection.
Please stop. Again, that is, as earlier, that's a parliamentary move. The objection to the question, that is a
All those in
two-thirds vote.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, I have a motion.
I'm going to make a motion.
Okay.
And I believe that the time has come that this council takes the steps to show that it really cares about its citizens. And again, I'm not asking for anybody to be arrested. It's to investigate, are these issues, problems that we do know about, whether you want to face it or not, that they are investigated and that we get good counsel as to what to do.
Mr. Mayor, if
So
you're going to
I'm-
make that motion, could you make it very specific so we know
Yes.
specifically what you're
So
moving?
I'm making a motion that we, as a city of Nisswa, the council, seek a firm through the League of Minnesota Cities, they have a list, and pick one of those and look to hire them for the purpose of gathering information on the, of the, I'll need to use the word allegations because that's what it is at this moment in time, regarding our police department and our police chief, primarily the chief. And that we would, that the city administrator look to talk with a few of these firms, get costs, and help define a scope of work and then a time frame for that to happen, and to bring that to the next council meeting or as soon as possible and make a selection and move forward. Is there a second? Okay. Don, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make motions. I hope I use the right words here. I'll move that city council deny the mayor's request based upon what we've heard tonight, because substantive material cannot be presented and was not presented, leaves the council with no option but to make a denial.
Okay, is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Thank you, guys.
Completely unrelated issue.
He's
Do we know when
spin
Tom
this
is going
one.
to be back?
He's going to spin this at the next council meeting.
Good. I had a question.
Very nervous.